everyone, this is Anne. Welcome back to my Flosstube channel. Today is Saturday, December 16th, 2017. I hope everybody is doing great. You may notice I am filming in a slightly different location today. I decided I would go ahead and use the camera that's hooked up to my desktop down here in the Bat Cave because I think this will be a slightly longer than usual video. So I didn't want to run out of space on my phone. And I'm also thinking that my camera does a better job of voice recordings. So hopefully the couple of you who had said that you were having trouble hearing me will not have any trouble hearing me. Sorry, dog helper, not exactly helping. So let's see. If you are a new viewer, welcome. Today's format is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to be doing my kind of normal, what I'm working on stuff at the front. And then the last half will be my 2018 plans. So if you're just here kind of for the last 10 days or so, I think it's been since I've recorded, check out the first half of the video. If you want to hear me natter on about 2018's plans, stay tuned. Those will go into the end of the video. Hopefully the light will be okay. I've kind of moved stuff around a little bit in the hopes that there's enough light from our overheads and everything coming in from the side that you guys can see everything okay. What's going on around here? I'm a little discombobulated today. You all might know we have two dogs. We have two dogs and a cat, but the cat is her own woman. We have two dogs. Our younger dog, Lizzie, who I've talked about before, will be 3 in January. She is a yellow lab. She's actually, I think, settling in behind me to chew a bone. So if you hear crunching, that's what that is. She's my outdoorsy partner. She goes for runs with me and all that kind of good stuff. We also have an older dog. She is a Brittany. She is going to be, I believe it's 14 in February. And she's in excellent health. I mean, this dog has always been like, you know, she could run a marathon. She's just got amazing reserves. That's the good news. So, you know, health-wise, she's in wonderful shape. The last 6 or 8 months, she has started to get like some dog dementia is the only way I can think of to describe it. She does not do well when the schedule is interrupted or changed in some fashion. And she will sometimes, I don't know if she's having trouble distinguishing between her waking and sleeping hours because she does sleep a lot now. But she's now started this great new thing where she will happily toddle off to bed. You know, you can see behind me their crates that they sleep in at night. And she happily goes in there. You know, some nights she's in there by 7 o'clock. When I'm ready to go to bed, she's already gone to bed. Last night, she toddled off to bed, and then she woke up at 11 o'clock, having a complete and total meltdown. I have no idea what set it off. I don't know if it was a dream that she thought was reality, whatever. So we do have some meds for her, but they don't, it's not like a shot or something intravenous that kicks in right away. I've got to give her the oral medication. We've got to kind of wait it out. And I know from experience with this, because this is not the first time that it's happened, that she will like escalate and escalate and escalate unless I can really kind of get it tamped down. And last night she had already started escalating by the time I heard her. The dogs and my office are down here in our split level, and so the bedrooms are upstairs and at the far end of the house. So, I heard her thrashing around and clawing at stuff and crying like she was going to be sick and needed to go out. So I ran down, let her out. No, she just was having one of her moments. So dog geriatrics. So we were up for close to 2 hours just every 30 minutes until I got enough medication in her that she passed out on the floor. So now today she's got drug hangover, so I haven't really even heard from her today. She's in the other room completely out, and Lizzie and I are stumbling around like zombies because we didn't have enough sleep either. And anyway, so I will try to stay focused. I needed to get this video recorded today because next week's getting crazy already. And I didn't want to get to the end of the year and not have done it. So anyway, after talking for 5.5 minutes about nothing, let's jump back in. If you're a returning viewer, thank you for checking me out again and spending some time with me. I always appreciate your comments and likes and thumbs up and all that good stuff. So let's talk about what I've been working on in the short term that will get us up through what I've been working on up through today. The first piece that I put some stitches in on was my Chatelaine. This is the Desert Mandala. This is where I am right now. I did advance my scroll bars up so I could work on these bottom cacti. So I have finished, except for the little thorns on this motif, this cactus, I have finished all the way down to here. I have some little yellow flower buds to go on this sagebrush. And then you can see this motif repeats again down here. And so I'm going to work around that way next time I pick it up. Again, there will be kind of a more in-depth Chatelaine Diaries video after the turn of the year, but that's where I am on that, and you'll see that again in my plans because that is definitely on my to-do list to work on for 2018. I then spent 5 days working on my 12 Days of Christmas. Exactly. This is came as a kit. It is a Jim Shore pattern, but Design Works is the kitter upper. I did not use the 14 count aided that came with this. I opted to place it out with a 22 count Hardanger hand dyed in the colorway Legacy from Picture This Plus. So instead of doing this 2/1, and there's the size, the 14 by 16 final size, it will be smaller than that. I think it will fit in a standard, a more standard frame. So there is as far as I got on this. So I got the top border done. This is now as wide as the piece will be. And I started bringing down the kind of dark bluish purple border that's there, and then started on the patchwork look. And this right here is the top of his hat, which is there in the picture. So I was really pretty pleased with how much I got done, considering that when I picked this up, I think I had like that much of the yellow border, the gold border done. The top or the outside border's a little bit fiddly. You really have to count. Be careful with your placement. So I thought what I would do is kind of, as I worked the more interesting stuff down on the inside, I would, you know, keep up with the border so that when I got to the bottom, it would be basically done. I would just have the horizontal bottom border to do at the very end. Now there is some back stitching that happens around this border, this kind of blue, dark bluey purple border in black that kind of outlines it. And there is a fair amount of back stitching in the main part. But anyway, I have not done the back stitching for that purple, so I would have that to do next time. But that is where I am on that. And that's as far as I'm going to work on it this season. It will probably come out for some stitch-alongs next year, things that are color-oriented or that kind of like a daily prompt thing, just so I'll put some stitches in on it over the course of the year. But again, you'll see this in my 2018 plans shortly. Last, I have been doing some stealth stitching. I think if you guys remember last time I talked to you, I had happily downloaded some Excel spreadsheets that Brian of Blitz Stitch had created to use as project trackers. And I had been using another one, not one of his, that I had found online and downloaded. And it does the same thing. You put in the date, you put in the number of stitches, it tracks how many total stitches you've done, and it spits out an estimated finish date, which can be good or bad depending on the size of the project and how much time or not you've been putting into it. So that one is a little bit more simplistic because what it does is it just calculates out the average number of stitches that you've done overall. So for instance, on my Winter's Encounter, you guys might remember I started it for Mania, then I restarted it in September, excuse me, but then I didn't really work on it very much in that intervening time. So program number 1 spits out an average, and it takes all of the days that you've worked on something or have had it as an active project and spits out the final date based on that. So when you don't work on a project, it's still calculating that as part of your kind of daily average production. Brian has created some crazy Excel maths going on in there. So that the way that his calculations work, because you can break it out like at a 30-day period, 60-day period, 90-day period, whatever, to look at an ongoing trend is if you do X number of stitches per day, here's your endpoint. So one of the columns, for instance, on his spreadsheet shows you if you were to just do one block of 100 stitches every single day, how long will it take you to finish the project? Here's the date. If you're working at your current daily average, based on, you know, a 1-day average or a 10-day average or a 30-day average, you can pick all those parameters. It spits out a different number because you are working more stitches to run through those mathematical calculations. Anyway, the point of this was when I plugged in information on this, and I've been doing about 200 stitches a day on it, just very faithfully every day. I'll just do it and then the stitches are done. I could have this finished basically this time next year. That sounds pretty darn good. Now, I don't know that I will be able to totally stick to that, but it adds up. So I have been working on this. Charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. It is the mini. The artwork is by Linda Prindle. And here is where I am on this. There's actually some color showing up. Right down here. Love those purples and grays. So yeah, I've actually been making progress on that. I'm really excited because when I finish the current diagonal steps that I'm working on here, this next one down actually starts the horse's mane. Right there. Yes, some colors other than pink and white. So this is what I have been working on, and this is what I will be working on as part of the Full Coverage Fanatics Winter Quarterly Sal, because obviously winter, right, goes perfect for that. That officially kicks off on the 21st, but you know what? I'm really into this project right now, and I'm striking while my proverbial iron is hot, so gonna do work on this until the 21st and beyond, probably till the end of the year. If I get a little burned out on it, I'll substitute something else in just for a day or two, but I really want to try to kind of make some good progress on this month, through the end of this month, and then January starts getting some funky bits because I've got travel and I have a big show coming up for my business that's in February that I have to do a ton of dyeing for. So that is where we stand with the projects I've worked on in the short term since last time I talked to you. I did want to share one other little thing with you. If you watch any of my other videos in my knitting world, you know that I have a great aunt who was very important in my formative years to, she's the person who taught me to knit. She helped me when I kind of got back into it. Lovely lady. She was a war bride. She grew up in Britain, worked for a silk factory in Braintree that made the parachutes for the RAF, and married my Uncle Pete when he was stationed over there with the American Air Force. So my Aunt Iris was a huge knitter, and she passed away this fall at the age of 96. So, I mean, she had a great long life, and she was not, she lived in an assisted living facility, but she was not high care. She, up until like the last 3 days before she passed away, she was still, you know, on her feet, down the hall to breakfast, slow, but still doing lots of stuff, still knitting, still into her reading, all that, all those good things that make life living. So my mom was the executor of her estate, and she went through Iris's things, and she sent me a little box that included a few things like her gauge ruler, which was fun to have, and just some little tchotchke kind of things. But then she also found this. Now my mom doesn't really stitch. She knows how to, but she does not do crafty things. So she sent this and she said, "Oh, I think you'd like this because it's needlepoint." Well, it's actually not needlepoint. It's counted cross stitch. Let's see if I can get that to focus. It's on Aida. I think it's a 16 count. I'd have to put a ruler to it. It's obvious this has been framed at some point because you can see the slight discoloration right here, I think, where the frame sat when the wood acids were touching the actual fabric. So yeah, it's like some English primroses. I have no idea of the pattern. I have no idea when she made it. It isn't even signed or anything. I just know that it's hers because it was in with her stuff. So my mom was kind enough to send that to me. So I'm gonna get that framed and just have that as a really nice memory piece for my aunt. So great aunt. Yeah, so I will think of Iris every time I look at that. She was a really awesome lady. I adored her, and she, you know, the sad thing is when you live to be 96, I mean, my Uncle Pete died in the early 90s, I think it was, maybe even 89. And she had 2 kids, and my cousin Jeff killed himself back in the 70s. That's really depressing. And then her daughter actually died 2 years ago in a horrible car accident. So she was really, I mean, for direct family, she was all by herself, and, you know, that's sad. I guess you expect you'll have your kids and or grandkids or, you know, close family members. So it was wonderful that my mom stepped up and kind of filled that void, and, you know, she went up to see Iris every month and took care of all of her doctor's appointment scheduling, and just, you know, took her shopping, took her out to dinner, took her to do interesting things, went to the bookstore, sent her thoughtful packages every so often, you know, good stuff like that. So anyway, side note on that, if you have come just for the kind of immediate stuff, short-term stuff, you may be excused. Everything from here on out is going to be 2018 plans. So 19 minutes in, you may wish to pause, get a beverage, and then come back. I will be here. Okay, let's talk about plans. I'm very excited for 2018. This is my little magic book. It has my life in it for all kinds of crafty goodness things. I love making lists. There's lots of them there. The way that I've planned out 2018 is to have a page for each month, which is what I have here. This has my full coverage fanatics themes, the stitch along themes that are happening. It has a breakout of kind of how I would like to slot things in for each 5-day rotation that I'm planning on doing. It has any other like Stitch Mania type sals here, so that I can add to that. And then what I've done is for like February, you know, Stitch Mania is doing the Olympic challenge. So while I have that notated here so I remember that it's happening, because it's such a long challenge, I actually broke out each of the day's themes over here so I can look at that easily. And I know all of it's online, but this is small and I can stick it in a bag or carry it up and down the stairs. You know, I don't need to have an internet connection necessarily to remember what the heck it is I thought I was going to work on. So what I've done for next year is, if you are a member of the Full Coverage Fanatics group, you know that there are sort of stitch along prompts. They're not traditional stitch alongs. We're not all stitching the same exact full coverage pattern. It's a theme. So for instance, the one that's kicking off December 21st with the advent of winter, it's winter themed. It's going to run 3 months. Any piece that you think of that says winter to you will work. And then there's some other ones that I've done that are just for the month. So like for January, the 2 prompts are fantasy, a fantasy themed piece, or a piece that has a lot of gray in it. And so the only month that I don't have something to slot in is, I think it's July. But you know what? I'll worry about that when I get to it. So for right now, for instance, the thing I'm going to focus on each month are the 2 quarterly sals, because there's one for seasons and there's one for the elements. In January, it's going to be air. And I decided for me to not have like every single project in the month be full coverage, because I think you need a break. You just need to feel like you're making a little bit of progress. I'm just going to concentrate on the themed prompt that's not a color. So fantasy, for instance, in January. And a lot of my projects double up, so that works out great that I can kind of double dip. So y'all know I'm going to be working on those larger projects throughout the year, and I will show you all of those here in a minute. I'm just kind of hitting the top edge of my plans. The next thing that I'm doing, I should also say I'm going to be participating in Stitch from Stash in 2018, which I don't think will be a huge deal. I have set my budget at $15, just in case, but I really actually have most of my projects picked out and ready to go and already started for 2018 because I'm doing my own year of whips. If you watched Melanie's most recent video, she talks a little bit about, you know, if you're interested in being in the run for the drawing, then you have to follow the rules that she set up. I'm not that interested in being in drawing. So I'm just going to kind of do my own thing, but it's still going to be a year of whips because I want to challenge myself to get through some whips. Now, I know Jessie Marie right now is laying on the floor laughing because she's like, I have 70 whips. Or is it 69 today? I think she finished up another one. So she might be 70 today and then 69 when you get that last one finished in the next 2 weeks. Just saying, Jess. I do not have 70 whips. I do not. But I still have a few more than I would like. Lots of things I started for Mania this year, which were fun, but I would actually like to finish them up. So here's what I did. I divided my projects up into size categories. I have smalls, mediums, and larges. Now, larges, obviously, full coverage, that's not really tough. But let me talk to you about what I plan to do. So for each of the 5-day rotations that I plan to do each month, I'm going to be working on one of those 5-day rotations is going to go to my chatelaine, the desert mandala. A minimum of one of those 5-day rotations is going to be for one of my whips that is not a full coverage piece. 2 of the other 5-day blocks will be dedicated to full coverage. And then I have 2, so that gets me to 20 days out of the month. I have 2 other 5-day blocks that I can either go back and work on that whip if I haven't finished it already, or I can devote those 2 5-day slots to working on a full coverage piece that I want to make some progress on. So let's talk about the smaller pieces first. I have 6 of those. Now, my plan is to work through these and try to get them done because they're the smallest pieces, right? You have the most chance of getting those done. So let's talk about which ones in my current things have been slotted in for that. The first one is Mill Hill's Buttons and Beads Believe. I am not doing this on the perforated paper. I am doing this on a 14 count Aida. I think the colorway is, I have it written down somewhere. It's a, I want to say spruce maybe. It was a stitchy box piece, but it's the perfect size for this. So you can see I've gotten a fair amount done on this, but it is basically full coverage, just about anyway. And I may work on this if I need like a small project to work on some evenings between now and the end of the year. I may slot this in because it's Christmas themed and that's kind of fun. So there's that. I would like to have that finished by next Christmas. And y'all will excuse me if I like repack while I'm talking to you, because if I don't put everything back, I know I'm going to lose patterns and stuff and never to be found again. I am still looking for a bobbin that Helper Cat Emma took off my work table. Cannot find it. Have ripped the house apart under every bed, every piece of furniture. Gone. I have no idea what she's done with it. Next is this cute little piece called, oh, I'm looking for the other tag, Every Heart Beats True. It is a pin cushion. It is a shepherd's bush, sorry about that, shepherd's bush piece. Again, a Mania Start. And this came as a kit, so it has the finishing ribbon to ruche around the edges. And it came with the fabric and the floss. And I actually made a pretty good start on this during Mania this year. So there it is. I've got the house mostly done, but not the roof. I had been working on the flag, started on the ground. Flip this back over so you guys can kind of see it together. So, I mean, I have some work to do on it. I got the eagle mostly done. But I think that's something that's definitely finish-upable. This will probably come out this spring because I would like to have it finished in time to display for 4th of July. And if y'all will hold, please, I have dropped my beads on the floor. Okay. Next. This is a drawn thread piece. This is my Welcome Autumn by them. Love these. I have all the seasons now, and I plan to work those up at some point and finish all of them. This is on a 32 count R&R Reproductions linen. And that is where I am. I have switched out the called for threads, and I am doing this with Redfish hand-dyed silks. So I've got the lettering started and that center pumpkin done and some of the leaves. Again, would like to have this finished to display in the fall. Okay. And I'm back. I worried about my phone cutting off. Apparently half an hour is the magic number for this software. Okay. Hopefully I'm not repeating anything here. I think I know where we stopped, but working on the smaller pieces. Tempting Tangles, Key to My Heart. This is another Mania start, available through Deb's Etsy store if you're interested. I'm working this on a 32 count linen. The colorway is Briar Rose from Hand Dyed by Stephanie. And I am using hand dyed floss from Color and Cotton in that gorgeous black currant colorway. Sadly now discontinued. This one I would like to have finished by the end of 2018. My husband and I have a wedding anniversary coming up, March of 2019. That's one of the bigger anniversaries, and I'd like to have this done and framed in time for that. Excuse the sneezing on the floor behind me. We've apparently now finally gotten up. Old dog, drug hangover. Next, in the small things, I am working on February Wordplay by Brenda Gervais. I had finished the January one last year. Loved it. Came out super cute. Definitely will have that out on my little display table upstairs. So I would like to have this one finished in February, for February of this year. So this is something I'm going to be working on in January so I can get it done. I'm using Gentle Arts threads on this. The linen is a 32 count linen and I'm stitching it 1/2. And that's as far as that one's gotten. I love those little ones. I actually have all of the months, so at some point, not this year, I will, I'm planning on stitching all of those up. Last one of the smalls. This should be number 6. Hopefully I caught all of them with the weird camera cut off. Bowl full of Scaries, Scary 1, a Plum Street sampler pattern. This came as a kit with everything except the fabric. And so I'm using the Called for Weeks Dye Works, and it comes with the little chenille trim. I'm stitching this on a 36 count Wren linen by Picture This Plus, and that's what I've got done. That's the middle funky looking tree. So I would like to have that one done in time to have out for Halloween this year. So those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So those are my 6 small projects. I want to try to have all of those done and finished in 2018. They're kind of my main focusy things. If I get all those finished, which I'm thinking that's pretty realistic. I don't think that that's like such a crazy goal. And normally that's what I set, are the crazy goals. I don't think those are so out of control that I can't get it accomplished. Let's see. Oh, so before I move on to all of the larger pieces, I wanted to talk to you guys about Death by Cross Stitch. I started this for Mania this year, and I've decided that I want to redo kind of how I'm doing this piece. This is as far as I got, so ripping this out is not going to be like a major ordeal for me. It is on a 28 count Lugana in the colorway Arctic by Picture This Plus. I've decided that I'm going to keep the fabric. I want to pull out the multicolor, and I want to go with another solid color that is a little bit brighter than that, just a hair. And I may ask Angela to dye me up one of her colorways. I'm thinking maybe Big Blue would be pretty, but I haven't decided on that yet. So this iteration is a give up. I will get back to it at some point, again, not this year, and redo it with a different color. I just will feel better with that. I think it'll be more what I want. So that one is not going to be on my whip list anymore because I'm going to frog out what I have done, that little bit. And so that gets me down to, I believe, 19. total projects that will happen during 2018. I can't remember if I said this. I'm sorry, because, you know, whatever cut out happened. I would like to try to at least touch all of my projects, all the projects you're going to see today. I won't get everything done, but I do want to actually put some stitches in on every single thing. Even if it's one day, even if it's for like a sal where you do 75 stitches, great, that's fine. So moving on to the remaining larger pieces that are not full coverage. I have the Prairie Schoolers Autumn Leaves. I am doing this one right here. This is a 36 count Witchelt linen in winter white. I'm stitching this 1/2. And I am using color and cotton hand-dyed floss for this. Colors that came with various monthly floss clubs. Love how those colors are turning out. So be working on that. Kind of running out of space to put stuff. The other Prairie Schooler that I have is When Witches Go Riding. That one right there. I am stitching this on a 28 count linen that I dyed myself using hand-dyed silks, also dyed by myself. So I have the top border and the little spooky black cat done. That's as far as that one has gotten this year, which is to say, not very far. I am using, or I already told you the floss. Sorry, I've repeated myself now because of the weird cutoff. Come back to that one. Let's see what's in this bag. Nope. Oh, okay. I would also like to try to put a small goal together for my village of Hawk Run Hollow. Let me show you the picture. I'm sure everybody's seen it, but in case you haven't. Village of Hawk Run Hollow. I am working this 1/1 on a 28 count Hardanger from Picture This Plus. This is also the other piece of the legacy that I had ordered. I have the top 3 blocks done. I'm using DMC, but I'm doing some personalizations with the names of things to match up with my grandmother's family in the small town she grew up outside of. And that is the block I'm currently working on. Block 4, it's the boarding house. And I would really like to get that block finished in 2018, so I'll focus on that one, and I may even do that kind of as a first thing once I get the other smalls done. So you'll, probably see a little bit more time on that than not for 2018. I'm not going to take it back out because you guys saw it in the first half of this video. 12 Days of Christmas, Jim Shore's piece, also will come out at some point, most likely for like individual day type sals, and maybe next year for the holidays. Okay, this one I have not touched in eons, but again, I'm going to try to get some stitches in on it this year. It is the Drawn Threads Winter Garden. I am stitching this on a 32 count linen, 1/1. It's a Witchelt linen, and I am using Gentle Arch threads as opposed to the called for silks. And there is where I am. Really like working on this piece. I'm not even entirely sure why I put it down other than, bright shiny magpie things, but there's some specialty stitches, but not so many that they're crazy. And you can see I'm about halfway done. That the house is what I'm working on right now. So that will come out at some point as well. All right, making progress. And then I also am not going to dig out, you know, discuss in much detail, but I'm going to be working on my chatelaine for 1 week out of every month next year. So Chatelaine Diaries videos will probably be every other month or ish, because I don't want to, you know, do a whole video showing like, oh, here's me working 2 more cacti and here's 2 more. I just want to talk about things kind of as I get sections finished or closer to finishing. So, yep, you will see my desert mandala again in 2018. And then the final piece, which again, I won't get many stitches put in, but I will be working on, is my one lone mirabilia, the Stargazer. I am doing this with the called for DM threads on a 28 count Lugana in the colorway Phantom from Picture This Plus. And let's see, I think that color is not true to life. This purple has a lot more red in it, but anyway. That's where I am working on her dress. Not a huge start. Again, I started it for Mania. So just if I can work on it for a stitch along of some kind. I don't know, maybe one of the Mira stitch alongs, or if Jessie Marie does her birthday sale again this year, might have a reason to come out for that. But anyway, so no huge push to get that done, just at some point. She's a big project. Okay, so that takes me to all of the non-full coverage cross stitch pieces. And then let's talk about my full coverage pieces. So you already saw this in the first half, Mini Winter's Encounter. This is going to be for the winter quarterly sal. I'll be working on this until the spring equinox. And I would really like to get a page finish on this during this first quarter, and maybe even a little bit more. This is going to be a piece that you guys see a lot in 2018. I'm going to pull it out for basically as many of the themed sals as I can. So I know, can't remember which month it is, August maybe, that's animals. It'll come out for that and be kind of a focus piece. I feel like if I pick one that I work on a lot, especially because this is a mini, that I might be able to actually have it done, maybe not 2018, but 2019, which would be a really wonderful thing to actually have finished a full coverage project in that shorter amount of time. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I missed one of my bigger pieces. Sorry, let's back up a second. This is almost full coverage in the sense that it's a Heaven and Earth design, but it's not. It's the Shoot the Moon piece. Artwork by Leanne Seed. I am doing the one with no background. So I am doing it on a piece of hand-dyed even weave that I dyed myself as a silhouette. And that is where I am on that one. So you'll for sure see this come out. This will be a 2018 piece that I work on at some point. Okay, now for reels. Back to full coverage. Try to get my life organized here. So let's see if those will stay. Okay. Also up in January for the Fantasy Sal and the Air Quarterly Sal is going to be my Six of Swords. Artwork by Stephanie Poo Moon Law. It's part of her tarot series. And that one is here. Just have the top few hundred stitches started. Excuse me. So that one will be showing up sooner rather than later. This is it's a big piece. It's a full size coverage, full coverage piece. So you guys will see that one in January. February, I will be picking up my stitching shelf. This is really a great one because honestly, if you wanted to just do the quarterly sals, and we do have someone in the group who's down to here. She doesn't have the whole thing done this way, but she's working down this way. So she's in the winter section. She's going to start that for the start working on that for the quarterly. I am nowhere close to that point. But I will show you where this is. 25 count. Not quite done, page 1. What I do want to try to do when I work on this in February is to get this back to the place where I can work on it block by block again. I was trying some cross country and I just don't like it as well. It's just harder for my brain to focus on it. So I would like to at least get the page finished in here, so that I can move back to the method that makes my brain happier. Let's see. And then I'll talk about this one. She won't come out till probably July. I'm going to probably use her for red and then into the fall. This is Which Way. Molly Harrison is the artist. It's a Heaven and Earth design. Love the colors in this one too. And actually, you know, this looks like progress, right guys? So I'm working on that fun, spooky sky with all those purples and grays and pinks. So that is where she is. Let's see. I feel like I'm missing one. I don't think I am though. Obviously just missing it inside my head. Okay. Then I'm going to have 2 other new starts as the year ticks by. I could have used this one for winter as well, but I'm going to use it for some other color prompts and animals. I'm working on this one. I'm going to be working on this one for my husband. It's called River's Edge, artwork by Kevin Daniel. And even though it's not a mini, it's smaller. It is 14 by 9. So it's almost a mini size. He grew up in Michigan, and that barn in the background, the ducks coming in to land on the river, I think are just, he'll really like this one. And I know he doesn't watch my videos, so I can stealthfully sneak stuff in. So that one is not started, but ready to go. Fabric is ready. So you'll see that one at some point. Probably will not put a ton of time in on it. It will not be like a major focus piece, but you'll see it at some point during the year. And then the last piece that'll be a new start is my Gypsy Firefly by Amy Stewart. It's another mini piece. Here's a bigger picture of it. It's got that awesome fox there who's in so many of her artwork pieces that I love. Love the colors in this. Excuse me. So that one is also going on 25 count. Have not started it yet, but it will be a new start over the course of the year. So I think that's it. I honestly feel like I'm missing something because, yeah, not that that's not enough. Not going to be bored. 2018 is going to be fun. I think it's just going to be a blast to work on all those projects. I'm looking forward to getting some things finished as well as putting some time in on my other big projects. And I just remembered I have another project that I'm going to be starting this year. I received this as a Christmas gift last year and I have not started it yet. My nephews and sister and brother-in-law picked this out while they were in France last year for me, just before the holidays. So they got me this Bayou Broderie kit. It's not cross stitch, but it is embroidery. And I have watched several videos and I feel as confident as I'm going to get to start this. So this is going to be something that I start for my New Year New Start. I'm going to try to work on this one day a month. I'm not planning on spending a ton of time on it, but I do want to start it and kind of, see how it goes and figure it out. Each of the color sections you can kind of do as a standalone based on how the Bayou stitches worked. So I think that that's what I'm going to do, is try to kind of break it up into sections and work on it. It's not a huge piece. It comes with the pattern stamped on linen. So I'll just show you the size of it because it's not really giving the pattern away because you've seen it. So there it is. It's not huge, but it will take me more than one week to work on. So yeah, so my plan is to work on that a little bit this year. I figured it'll just be like a nice change up to do a little bit of a different technique. I haven't done embroidery in a while. I used to do more of that than counted cross stitch, but have not done that in quite a long time. So it will take some getting my feet wet again, I think, to kind of get back into the swing of things. So anyway, have that to look forward to as well. I think that's about it. If there's any of the projects that I'm working on that I didn't give you enough information, but you want either floss or fabric or designer information, whatever, that I missed, please feel free to leave me a comment. I'm always happy to try to get you hooked up and enable you if there's something that you think you might want to work on. Yeah, so I think that's about it. I will not have another video until after the turn of the year, so I will check in with you guys then. I think that's it. I am going to try to kind of keep up with doing a video once a month that has kind of my plans and how they slot into all of the full coverage stitch-alongs, in case any of you are so moved to come and join us there. We have almost 500 people in the group now, so obviously a lot of you have found it, which is awesome. And it's been a really great group to this point, so I'm looking forward to seeing more pieces worked on once the sals kind of get kicked off and folks decide on what they're working on and kind of get their teeth into stuff. So really looking forward to that. If you're a part of that group, thank you. I think it's awesome to have you playing along, and certainly hope you'll enjoy your time there. So until next time, I want to wish everybody a very happy holiday season, whatever holiday you celebrate. I hope you have some time off, that you get some stitching and some time with your family. My husband will be home for 2 full weeks, which is going to be great. He and I are going to have some nice dinners here at the house. I think he's got plans to putter out in his shop. He's going to go for some hikes, just decompress time, which everybody needs to kind of regroup and get ready to go for the new year. So I'm super excited to have you guys follow along for 2018. I wish you a very, very happy new year, full of fun crafting things and all kinds of good times. So until I talk to you again next time in 2018, take care, everyone. Happy holidays.